Well, this has certainly been an interesting year for the sport of professional wrestling, with many upon many wrestlers getting a chance to be in the spotlight. So I'm here to talk about some of my favorites. I'm John Rentham with my 25 favorite wrestlers of 2021 list with some honorable mentions. Let the praise flow like red, red wine. I won't take a drink, for I'm straight edge, you see. But if you want to partake in drinking red, red wine, do it in moderation. Okay, enough butchering of this classic. Anyway, okay, sorry, enough of that. Just had to have some fun here. But yes, I have quite a few names to go through and quite a bit to praise. So let's get to it. Let me know your top 5, top 10, your honorable mentions, whatever. I'd love to hear from you guys. But yeah, there's a lot of honorable mentions, like Hiroki Goto, Mike Bennett, Sammy Guevara, Santana and Ortiz, basically the good members of the Inner Circle, Nyla Rose, Ruby Soho, CM Punk, Eddie Kingston, Rex Steiner, MSK, Kota Ibushi, Sonata, Tim Storm, Nick Aldis, Tony Storm, and Jon Moxley. So now let's get on to the list proper. This list was revised a whole lot of times. I went through a whole lot of paper because I was trying to figure out how to rank them, and I'm pretty certain that I forgot a whole bunch of people that I like, and that's no disrespect, but there's so many goddamn great wrestlers that there's no way I can mention them all. Like, seriously, there are a ton of great wrestlers from indie promotions that I've been to the big companies, whatever. Even if they're held down creatively, there are still so many great goddamn wrestlers. And also one more honorable mention to Shane Swerve Strickland. Can't wait to see him back, doing what he does best, killing it no matter where he's at. So anyway, we go to number 25, Tomohiro Ishii. Okay, the man doesn't have a lot of years left, if we're being perfectly honest. As tough as nails as he is, and as hard as he goes, phrasing, the man is 45 years old and Father Time is undefeated. And much like Minoru Suzuki, who also deserves a bit of an honorable mention, Tomohiro Ishii is fucking tremendous and has great matches. Regardless, it doesn't matter who he faces, he can get a great match out of anybody. He's a great seller and a great hard hitter. That vertical drop rainbuster is fucking beautiful. Now we move on to number 24. Ain't nobody realer than a gorilla. It couldn't sound more white if I tried. Tama Tonga and Tangaloa. Yep, the Gorillas of Destiny, and they're such a great fucking tag team. One of my favorite tag teams going today. They're really goddamn great, and honestly, if only we could get maybe the Gorillas of Destiny versus the Usos in a dream match, but they're a great tag team. They just, they had a great series of matches with Dangerous Tekkers, and they're just, great as far as being one of the best IWGP tag team champions, champion duos of all time. Like, as far as number of reigns and everything, and they just have that magic, and they just have they're such great defensive wrestlers, but they can just pull off those great double teams. They really are fucking tremendous. So praise to them. Now we move on to number 23. Whoa, 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 whoa. It's Tarzan Boy. Jungle Boy. Jungle Jack Perry, as JR calls him. Hopefully JR continues to battle through his skin cancer treatment and gets back to doing what he loves in the most healthy way possible. Whatever time he needs a way to get his life in order and get his health in order, that's what matters. Jungle Boy, Jack Perry, Jungle Boy. Okay, his promos are a little bit dodgy, though he has gotten a little bit more confident, and he really does shine. He's fucking tremendous. He's taken to this like his dad took to acting. I mean that. Jungle Boy really is fucking great. He has done some great shit, has had some great performances, and he is the shining light of Jurassic Express. Even though Luchasaurus isn't that bad, Jungle Boy is clearly the star and has that poise and has that ability, and had, one of the great TV matches that AEW had this year against Dax Hardwood, and has also done some great stuff as far as like multi-man matches. Sure, I haven't loved everything he's done, but you can't love every single thing that most wrestlers do until you get to more of the top 10 here, because that's just when the top 10 really kicks into high gear. But Jungle Boy is fucking tremendous and deserves praise. Now we move on to number 22, Rhea Ripley. I still want her to step on me. Stop kink shaming me. Stop it. Stop it. I run a clean show. This is one of the few dirty things that I will say, and if you believe that, I'm very sorry that you bought into that. Rhea Ripley, though, is great, even with the shoddy booking and the fact she beat Asuka, and then they did absolutely nothing with her after that until she lost to Charlotte Flair. Rhea Ripley is fucking great. She's got that movie star quality to her. She's going to do great in wrestling. She's going to do great out of wrestling. She's statuesque, beautiful, talented. I love me some Rhea Ripley. And I praised her before in other reviews and everything, so let's move on. Number 21, Becky Lynch. And boy, here I thought that Becky Lynch coming back and squashing Bianca might have turned out not to be the best move. Now, sure, it's a little bit dodgy, and I can't necessarily say it was her best decision, but Becky has been sinking her teeth into this and coming back in, quick fashion after having a kid, and is in incredible shape, killing it in this, tweener role, sort of. Even though she was trying to heel, people were still going to cheer her because even though she's trying to knock them, come on, she's still going to she's still going to get fucking cheer because she is Becky Lynch, and she's just that goddamn great. So even though her, Bayley did great stuff, Sasha Banks did great stuff, so many of the women in WWE have done great stuff. Becky Lynch deserves a mention here. All due respect to the other women that I mentioned. Number 20, Nick Wayne. If you checked out my previous, 10 wrestlers to watch out for in 2022 list, you'll know that I have high praise for Nick Wayne, the son of Buddy Wayne, who is really, really fucking great. Great kid, great young man. He's going to go far. And that's all the praise I'm going to give because you can check out most of the praise that I heaped on him in that. But I've seen some matches with him, over the past couple years at Without a Cause shows. And even though they were off for a majority of 2020 and part of this year due to the pandemic, Nick has shined at GCW shows. He's fucking great. Number 19, Toxic Attraction with the Madness. Oh boy, they're full of badness, aren't they? Mandy Rose's questionable tan aside, Mandy Rose has really been killing it in this role as the current NXT Women's Champion. And Gigi Dolan, the former Priscilla Kelly. And JC Jane, my fucking goodness, JC Jane, where has she been all my life? Apparently she's a passionate wrestling fan and has made it and is doing really good stuff. But them as a trio, okay, sure, obviously you want to look at them and you want to see more of them, but they got to back it up in the ring. They look like stars, they're presented like stars, and, Gigi and JC are the current NXT Women's Tag Team Champions, which those tag titles actually mean more in NXT than the main roster ones mean because, there's actually a few teams in NXT. Not many, but more than Raw and SmackDown have put together. But Toxic Attraction, when they first arrived, I was like, okay, not so sure. Oh, okay, cool. After a couple weeks, I was sold on it, and now they're doing some really good stuff. And they're another one. I think they're going to be big things in 2022. But they're killing it right now, and they've been killing it only in the couple months they've been part of NXT 2.0. Now we move on to number 18. Say yeah, it's FTR. Dax and Cash. Here comes the Dax, here comes the Casher, and they're Wilder, and they're gonna Hardwood Disaster. Okay, boy, that was a butchering of the Demolition theme, along with Tully Blanchard, part of the Pinnacle. They're playing Pinnacle in your snout, but they're not worms. Bit confusing that. FTR are fucking great. Anytime you give them a chance, whether it's on Dark or Dark Elevation, they can make people look good. They've made the Lucha Bros slow down on some of their stuff, Full Gear match aside. But FTR is a really, really good team. My favorite tag team in the world, and that's no disrespect to the New Day, Kofi and Xavier, or other people who are really good. But FTR get the nod as far as being my favorite tag team, and maybe it's a little bit, you could say it's a little bit biased if you want, because sure, you could base it on they haven't done everything all that great. But when you give them a chance, it's like, holy shit, they're actually really goddamn good. Why aren't we featuring them more? So now we get to number 17. Adam Hangman Page. It's the man who does the cowboy shiznit, Shivani. What do you say? God, JR. Again, I hope JR gets well, but Adam Hangman Page, who beat Kenny Omega and ended his nearly year-long AEW World Championship reign at Full Gear and is now currently in the midst of a feud with Bryan Danielson, who will likely end up losing the title to MJF. I'm thinking MJF's going to end up beating Page down the road. I mean, Bryan could get it. I'm not saying that Bryan shouldn't have the championship at some point, but I think he's going to have to turn face and beat MJF for it. That being said, fantasy booking aside, Adam Hangman Page, even with some of the stuff I didn't care about, the drinking and all that, and him going away for a bit, him going away made sense, so because he wanted to be there with his wife for the birth of their daughter, I think. Sorry if I got that wrong. But Page has been really, really good. He's been one of the bright spots, gets some of the biggest reactions. Adam Hangman Page is a bright, bright star, finally achieving his potential. And credit to people for pointing out, on the AEW I believe it was the AEW All Out poster, the first 4 champions were the people featured on the poster. In order. Chris Jericho, Jon Moxley, Omega, and then Page. Credit to them for sticking to it. I will get it, whether it's by accident or whatever, or whether it's by design, good job. Paige, though, has had a pretty good 2021, weird booking aside. Number 16, the Revolution will be televised. It's Mr. Ricky Starks. I can't do the stuff like Ricky Starks does. I apologize to any Ricky Starks fans. But Ricky is fucking tremendous. Got to see him at a few indie shows, actually. Got to see him at one just before NWA Into the Fire, which was it Into the Fire? It was Into the Fire, the one that was in December of 2019. And Ricky's really good. And he's been killing it as part of Team Taz. Yes, even when he has Hook in his corner. Had to get one of those in. But Starks is the current FTW champion. Not that that title means anything, but Starks does his best. Now, he has that neck injury, and he's been doing matches and been doing commentary. But Starks, he is really, really fucking good. It's great. He's great in the ring. Great on promos. Great on commentary when he's allowed to actually say something. Fucking charismatic as hell. He is a guy that could be one of the members of the foundation of AEW, even though he showed up sometime after the company had gotten established. But Starks is really good. Now we move on to number 15. Everybody dies. I don't know why I did the weird pose like that, but Lance Archer is number 15. I didn't get a chance to meet him. He was at a Seattle show a few months ago. I didn't get a chance to go, unfortunate. I would have liked to have seen that. I hope he recovers from the neck scare that he had when that moonsault landing went a little bit bad. But I've loved Lance Archer since his time as Dallas and then Lance Hoyt in TNA. And even when he was Vance Archer in WWE, even though he wasn't given much of a chance to do anything, he's good. He's really, really good. He's, in his mid-40s, moves goddamn great. As far as like his persona, just beating up people and everything and throwing them in the ring, like the jobbers and stuff like that, I fucking love that. I love his stuff in New Japan, but just this year alone, he's done really, really good stuff. Anytime that he's been given a chance to do, like something, been given a program like with Miro, even though that was hot-shotted, Lance Archer is really fucking good, and I always enjoy seeing him, and I hope to see him back in a ring soon, 100% healthy, so he can have another career resurgence. But Lance has done, I really enjoy it. I love Lance. Anyway, but no, Lance is really, really good. Now we move on to number 14. She's on her own against the world, and she's going to whip everybody at all. I don't actually know the fucking lyrics after the first part. I'm sorry. It's Bianca Belair. Her and Sasha Banks created magic on the first, being the first two African American women main eventing a WrestleMania. Easy for me to fucking say. That was a big deal. And they did some good stuff. And Sasha getting like a freaking lash across her stomach. Ouch. But Bianca, even despite the fact she was never NXT Women's Champion, and even though I would have had her win the goddamn, she did win the Rumble. I would have had her win the 2020 Rumble. They couldn't ever do that. It would have had Shayna win that, but they couldn't have that happen. Anyway, about 2021, she won the Rumble. It came down to her and Rhea. And then she faced off against Sasha. The title reign was a little bit dodgy. It wasn't all that great. It was also during the time where after WrestleMania, they didn't get fans back in the building until about a month before her title reign ended. But Bianca's super over. Strong as hell. I mean, looking at her, she obviously looks like an athlete. She has that ability. She has that charisma. Has that physical presence. She has that draw, that aura that makes you want to see more of what she can do. And by God, she's good. She's really fucking good. I am glad that I was proven wrong when I was like, I wasn't so sure about her at first in NXT. Kind of like the same as Liv Morgan, who's somebody I probably should have mentioned in the honorable mention since she's done some great, great shit. But yeah, Bianca is really, really good stuff. As far as like just watching what she can do, her matches are good stuff. Her promos, sure, they get a little, at times it's the overly scripted stuff, even though she has that natural charisma. There's something to be said about maybe giving people bullet points, but Bianca has that charisma, and she is a bright, shining star. And she's going to be a big star for them. Again, can't sing her praises enough. Now we move on to number 13. You know what? I'm going to call it goddamn audible here. I'm going to call it fucking audible, and I'm going to put in, who do I want to put in suddenly? Because I left that open because it's a lucky number 13. You know what? I'm going to do it. I'm going to fucking do it. I'm going to put in, I'm going to put in Drew McIntyre is actually who I'm going to put in. Because Drew McIntyre is really goddamn good. And Drew McIntyre is fucking tremendous. I love watching Drew McIntyre continue to improve. Continue to do some great goddamn stuff. Watching what he can do is actually phenomenal. Like, he has just that ability to, like, you know, draw you in. I mean, sure, a lot of wrestlers do. But Drew McIntyre is really, really just, he's a fucking superstar. In incredible shape. He has just that presence where he could just, like, kick somebody's head off. He could just do this, like, oh my God, how the hell could you do that? How the hell could he do something that is so how could he do that kind of stuff? A man that big shouldn't be able to do what he does. Stop thinking about it, Catwoman 13. I know you're thinking about it. So, Drew McIntyre, though, deserves to be mentioned at number 13. You know why? Because Drew's really good, even with the fact they took the title off of him and put the title back on him and did his stuff and whatever. Drew McIntyre is a fucking superstar. And the fact that him and Lashley had a really, really good match at WrestleMania and had a series of matches, even though it got a little bit annoying. Drew had a hell of a guy. He got dealt a bad hand when the pandemic hit and everything, and his title reign took place during the Thunderdome era. But goddamn, Drew's good. Isn't he just really good? But number 12, though. Mustafa Ali. You know why I'm putting Ali here? Because anytime Ali appears on television, he gets a chance to shine and do stuff and have some great moments. Why don't they let him do more stuff? Is it because they don't think Ali's marketable? Ali is marketable. He's very marketable. And I'm fucking ashamed that they don't let him do more stuff. Whether he's a face, a heel, he was the leader of the group that used to call themselves Retribution. But he is really, really good. And Ali deserves more praise, and I'm praising him highly here because that's just exactly where Ali deserves to be. I'm also going to slot another person in on here, Dante Martin. Dante Martin is somebody who has impressed me since his time in Top Flight, and fucking Christ, Dante Martin's really, really good. My list, my rules. I can throw as many people in on here as I want. So anyway, we go to number 11. Ali's really good, and Dante Martin's really goddamn good. Now we move on to number 11, Bryan Danielson. It's great in his last few months in WWE. Had that match against Roman Reigns where he had to leave SmackDown, then he left the company. He showed up at AEW All Out. Did really, really good stuff. Great fucking talent. Now he's switched, and he's just a smart-ass heel. Really, really enjoyable. I really enjoy watching Bryan Danielson work. He's worked against variety of opponents. He's having the goddamn time of his life. And he owes it all to you, and I've kicked the head in of every member of the roster to get to Adam Hangman Page and the world title that I want to win. Okay, don't know where the fuck that came from. Bryan Danielson, though, has just been having a lot of fun there. You can tell he's been having a lot of fun. You can tell that he's just leagues better than anybody else. And my God, if he isn't just fucking enjoying whatever he does. It doesn't matter if you put him in a squash match, if you put him in a competitive match. He's having a blast. Now we move on to number 10. Mr. Head at the Table. Hoorah! It's Roman Reigns. Yes, Roman Reigns is on my favorites list. The world has ended. World has ended and the skies, they keep on burning. There was not a time that I thought I would be putting Roman Reigns on my list. Not that Roman Reigns doesn't have worlds of ability, and not that he isn't talented, but it was because of the push to creative and all that bullshit. But I softened on that after his leukemia scare. And now Roman Reigns is in at number 10. Many could argue he should have been top 5. I have my reasons for why I put people in my top 5, and you can deal with it. But sure, okay, the title reign, you could argue maybe getting a little stale, but they're letting it go as long as they can. It should end at WrestleMania. It should not end before. Have it end at WrestleMania. But then where the fuck do you go? Hell, you could have it go past WrestleMania, have it go to SummerSlam, and have it be almost 2 goddamn years. If he goes to WrestleMania, then he will have beaten Brock's record, which is probably smart, because then you could have somebody that's been around being Universal Champion and be actually praised for working hard and hardly working. Wait, no, that's Brock hardly working. I kid. Roman is really good, though. Him and Heyman, they've created this magic, the bloodline stuff. Sure, it gets a little bit old with the interference, but Roman's been killing it in this role. And now we move on to number 9, Miro. This is the word of the Reamer. I think that's how that goes. Considering where he was earlier in the year, the whole Arcade Anarchy bullshit, I wouldn't have thought that Miro would be anywhere near this list. Not that Miro isn't good, but of course, after, the Arcade Anarchy beating up Kip Sabian. Where's Kip Sabian been, by the way? Is he all right? Miro has done This Is a Word to the Redeemer. He was TNT champion for a while. He's just been doing great stuff. Any promo, pre-tape, whatever he does, he fucking kills it. He's been killing it in the ring. He's been just mowing people down. And they tell the good story about, him with a neck of sand. But Miro, I can't praise Miro enough. Because I was certainly wrong thinking that they couldn't rehabilitate him after that Arcade Anarchy bullshit. But whatever. Now, we move on to that. But Miro's been having a great, year, great cap off to this year. After earlier, Number 8, MJF, because he's better than you, and you know it. And also he cuts tremendous fucking promos. And he has had some really good goddamn matches. Him and Darby Allin, as far as an opening match on the pay-per-view, is going to stand out for the next, 10 to 20 years. That would have fit in anywhere. That would fit in any territory. It was really good stuff. Sure, the apron stuff was a little bit much. But the selling, the way it was done, and MJF telling the story of how he could beat Darby with a side headlock takeover, and he beat him with a side headlock takeover. And MJF just has some great, great stuff. He will be AEW champion in 2022, and will probably have a 6-month reign where he'll just be a full-on dickish heel as opposed to now. But I like MJF. And I've been a fan of MJF for a number of years, and that's why I'm ranking him here in the top 10. And now, number 7. The doctor will see you, meow. Meow, 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 meow. No, it's Britt Baker, who's a dentist, by the way, in case you didn't know that. I know, it's shocking. AEW is very subtle, only hitting you in the head, ow, with that a few more, about 50 times during the show. No, actually, in all seriousness, Britt, great on her being a dentist and also a wrestler. Having 2 careers, making the 2 careers work. She's a current AEW Women's Champion, and after that tooth and nail match last year, wouldn't have thought that, even though Britt has great talent, I wouldn't have thought that Britt would be up there. I wouldn't have thought anybody could recover after that, because that was a really shit match. Whether it had men or women didn't matter. It could have had goddamn aliens from the 3rd moon of Uranus. I don't think Uranus even has moons. Uranus is a moon. Moon! Perfect orbit, my ass! Anyway, Britt Baker, though, really good. Her, Rebel, Jamie Hayter, even though, as of this recording, the whole thing with the Jamie Hayter alliance may not end up lasting all that long, Britt has just shined a ton. I mean, a fucking ton. Her and Hikaru Shida, who I neglected to mention in my honorable mentions, even though I do love Hikaru Shida. Britt Baker has just been a bright, bright, shining star for the women's division. And she absolutely deserves that praise, that moniker, whatever you want to say. Now we move on to number 6. The almighty Bobby Lashley, who reigned as WWE champion maybe a little bit shorter than I would have liked. I would have had him hold it until WrestleMania 38. But whatever Big E is champion, Lashley is still a dominant beast. Beating up Dominic and Ray, that never gets old, especially Dominic. And that's about it. That's about it right there. I mean, I can't really praise Lashley enough. He's done some great, great shit. And considering he's 44, 45, I think he's about 45. He says he's on his last run, which, yeah, that kind of makes sense. And he's just going to probably have a couple more years and then probably hang it up. But he looks as great as he did in 2003, 2005. Or actually, take a look at when he showed up in 2005 on TV and he was just squashing people. Tell me that Bobby Lashley is not an immortal. I'm baffled. But Lashley absolutely deserves to be just out. I would have almost put him in the top 5. But Lashley, though, has had a fucking career year. This is how they should have been booking him from the word go. Now we move on to number 5. Kazuchika Okada. The Rainmaker is number 5. Number 5. Can you guess who's above him? You probably can if you know me. But yeah, proof that even the best sometimes, can be ranked a little bit lower because, well, you get so used to how great they are, there's not much more you can say except Okada's really fucking tremendous and fucking wonderful to watch. And the Rainmaker is back. And even though he had those back issues earlier in the year after taking some time off, Okada is just really, really spectacular. Had a great series of matches with Jeff Cobb. A little bit more on him a little bit later, perhaps. And, against Shingo Takagi. Even Okada at half speed could still do some great stuff because he's just a natural. He's one of the best that New Japan has had in the last 20 or so years. Okada's really, really fucking good. And he's going to be the guy for that company, at least for the next 10 years. provided that he stays virtually, injury-free or as injury-free as possible. I don't know who the fuck's coming in the pipeline, or down the pipeline rather, that can replace him. But Okada deserves the praise. However, number 4, he is ZSJ. He is Zack Sabre Jr., the submission master. I always screw those up, unintentionally, yet also intentionally. Zack Sabre Jr., he got a great match out of the Great Okan. He made me not want to skip a Great Okan match. More on Okan over on the least favorite wrestlers playlist, or not playlist, but list. You probably can guess where he's ranked, or maybe you can't. You don't know. You can't read my mind, and if you can, get the fuck out of there. You don't want to be in my mind. I don't want to be in my mind. Anyway, Zack Sabre Jr. is great. Great run in the G1. It's like, 3 down, 6 to go, as you were. And he also, does great stuff for charity, and he's I can't sit down, I can't imagine how he comes up with these moves. I couldn't sit down and think of this stuff, let alone pull it off. Zack Sabre Jr. does it, and Zack's fucking spectacular. Really fucking spectacular. I love watching Zack Sabre Jr. wrestle, and I'm going to continue to enjoy watching him wrestle. Now, I haven't been able to keep up on World Tag League and Best of Super Junior, the tour is going on, but I've seen enough of what Zack Sabre Jr. is doing, and the guy's just good. He's just really, really fucking good. Him versus Bryan Danielson in one of the Dome shows or on January 8th next year. Please, hopefully, maybe, please let it happen. But anyway, number 3, Shingo Takagi, the current IWGP World Heavyweight Champion. Man, they really should have never human centipede together that and the Intercontinental Championship. Shingo Takagi is really goddamn good. Really, really good. And the fact that he had a hell of a goddamn career in Dragon Gate and appearances in Ring of Honor and whatever before he came to New Japan a few years ago. Had a great run in the Best of Super Juniors. Turned to a heavyweight because he's just that goddamn good. And also he's pretty close to being a heavyweight anyway in the junior heavyweight division. He's had a great run and he's current champion and he's done really, really good shit. And he had a hell of a run in the G1 and Shingo is just great to fucking watch. Really, really great to watch. I had him at number 2. Who I put at number 2 was Jeff Cobb. Who can stop Jeff Cobb is what Kevin Kelly said, or no one can stop Jeff Cobb. And that was just before Jeff Cobb got stopped by Okada in the finals of the B Blocka finals in the G1. And obviously that was where they were going to go. But Jeff Cobb had a hell of a goddamn run, winning 8 straight matches and then losing the last one. Jeff is just great. I mean, really, really fucking great. I can watch Jeff Cobb matches for hours on end. I can watch a compilation of them and not get tired. New Japan, even some of the stuff that he did in Lucha Underground. And you know who he was in Lucha Underground. And I've seen him at a couple indie shows. The guy is fucking spectacular. Met him about 3 years ago. Really nice guy, right after he became the Ring of Honor TV champion. But Jeff Cobb is just fucking spectacular. And he had a career goddamn year. He had a career fucking year. Great stuff in New Japan. His fucking theme's phenomenal. Sounds like goddamn War March. But number 1. I mean, come on, guys. The shirt. Thunder Rosa. Number 1, Thunder Rosa. Because I will tune into just about anything that Thunder Rosa is doing in a wrestling ring because she's just that goddamn good. And I'm also ordering more shirts, and I'm going to have them on the way to have more Thunder Rosa merch because I've loved Thunder Rosa since pretty much for the last few years. A little bit of side story. It was actually kind of a thrill when she was at the first ever Without a Cause show, and that was about 3 years ago, and was doing a dance entrance and made me part of that, and that was certainly interesting. I never thought that would be the case, and got to meet her, super sweetheart, big influence to children and various others. She proves it's not the size of the fight in the dog, it's the size of the heart, basically, is what it is. However that cliche goes. The whole point is Thunder Rosa, as far as ability, is just leagues better than just so many others. And that's not to say that, she can't make other women look good, because she can. That's part of being a great talent. She can make some women in dark and dark elevation matches look like they could compete with just about anybody because she just has that ability. And think about it, she's only been wrestling for less than 10 years, I believe, and is just this goddamn good. And she's a natural ad. She's talented. She's striking. She's, absolutely beautiful. She's a great, great spokesperson that you could feature as a head of your company. She will be AEW Women's Champion at some point. She has to be. There's no way that she can't be the one to dethrone Britt Baker. But I love Thunder Rosa. I've been a big fan of Thunder Rosa, especially this year. That match she had with Britt Baker, the Lights Out match, was fucking phenomenal. And I will continue to sing her praises because she's just that goddamn good. And she, she was going to be in the top 5 for sure after that Britt Baker match. And that was back in March. And then the more I thought about it when, like I was revising this list, I'm like, she's got to be number 1. She's got to be number 1. Like, there's no other person I've enjoyed watching in the ring more than her. So, yeah, bit of a long list and bit of a long show right here. But considering honorable mentions and 25 other wrestlers covered in the list, I think I did pretty well. Let me know your favorites in the comments, please. But seriously, Thunder Rosa is going to do some great things in 2022 and beyond. Anyway, agree, disagree with what I said, like, share, subscribe, Twitter handle in the description. I'm John Ritlin. I'll see you soon.